I think over the last few days, using the Pixel 7 Pro as my primary phone has further convinced me of one specific thing. It's that I really, really want a foldable Pixel. If Google would just give me this, but in a form factor that could do this, I would be on that so very quickly. And that is why today I'm excited to bring you a little bit of news, a report here from 91 Mobiles, and I've got some stuff kind of broken down here, but we're just going to go straight to their website and read the article because you have some information about the upcoming Pixel Foldable, the Pixel Notepad, if you will. Let's go through this stuff here, and there's some interesting stuff to talk about. So according to their source, the Pixel Fold, codenamed Felix, will feature a Samsung-made display. Actually, both of the displays will be Samsung-made externally and internally. The folding screen will be 1840 by 2208, always strange resolutions on these weirdly shaped screens. 123 millimeters by 148 millimeters. Now, it's important to keep in mind that's just the screen, right? There's going to be a little bit of a bezel around the edge. 1200 nits peak brightness, 800 for average, which is totally fine. Apparently up to 120 hertz for the refresh rate. We're going to keep going on this camera stuff in a minute, but let's pause on the measurements. 123 millimeters by 148 millimeters. Now, I took that information and I said to myself, I'm going to do something extraordinarily nerdy. And I've done this in the past when some other leaks about the Pixel Notepad, some screen dimension leaks came out. I'm going to take those measurements. I'm going to take a ruler, a measuring tape in this instance, and I'm going to cut something out about that size. And that is where I landed with this piece of cardboard here. And I'm assuming it's going to fold this way because all the leaks I've seen about the cover display is that it's going to be shorter and wider, so you would need to fold it in this direction. And when I opened this up, I thought to myself, this is quite a nice form factor, but it feels slightly familiar. Let me show you what I mean here. Here's my piece of cardboard. Here is my Sprite. Let me get this out of the way. Here is my Z Fold 4, and we're just going to turn that screen off. And let's take my piece of cardboard here, and let's rotate it the other way around and put it on top. And that's pretty much a dead ringer for the Z Fold 4. And if you actually look into the dimensions, it is a dead ringer for the Z Fold 4. So if you want to conceptualize what the Pixel Notepad is going to look like, take a Z Fold 4 and turn it around this way. And that's pretty much what your notepad is going to look like at that point. I mean, it's absolutely a dead ringer for those measurements. Now, the biggest difference there is that when you fold it shut, you're not going to have this, right? You're going to fold it shut the other way around. So you're going to be here instead. You're going to have a cover display that's going to be significantly shorter and significantly wider as well. If I go around this way, you can see how much it's going to protrude out the other side. So that is, if these leaks are correct, what your Pixel Notepad is going to look like. It's going to be quite a short, thick device on the cover display, and when you are opened up, I think it's going to be very, very nice for multitasking, and I think I can kind of demonstrate this as well. Let's open up the Play Store, and let's open up YouTube, but now let's rotate it around, and I think that's way better. I've been telling people for ages now, when you're split screening on your Z Fold, flip it around this way. It's going to be so much better. It's reminiscent of Surface Duo when you're in that orientation, and it's just way better. So the Pixel Fold, ostensibly, is just going to live in that orientation. Now, the rest of this here talks about the cameras. The primary sensor is apparently an IMX787. Now, interestingly enough, when you Google the Sony IMX787, what you wind up getting is every result I can find is that it's a pretty new sensor, but it is a 64 megapixel sensor. You'd expect this thing to be the 50 megapixel sensor that's in the current Pixel 6 and Pixel 7, but apparently it is not. Rather than Samsung's GN line, we're going with a Sony IMX. Very strange, if you ask me. The IMX 386 for the ultra-wide, that's the same ultra-wide that's in the last several Pixel devices, so no big shock there. The S5K3J1 is going to be the telephoto lens, but apparently they also have it as a telephoto selfie on the outer display, whatever that means. I'm not really sure what to make of that phrasing, but that's a 10.8 megapixel sensor. The IMX 355 on the inner display is a selfie. That's the same selfie sensor that was on the Pixel 6 and maybe the 7, but definitely not the 6 Pro and the 7 Pro. They might have changed it on the standard 7. It was the same selfie as on the 6 at least. So it looks like a very odd camera setup if these leaks are true, but it looks like it should be on paper a solid set of cameras. I mean, a 64 megapixel, the same ultra wide we've been getting. This probably does mean no periscope zoom though. It's a different sensor on the telephoto than what we had before. This is only a 10.8 megapixel, so probably like a 2 or a 3x if I had to guess, but still, seems like a pretty solid camera setup. Personally, I'm just more and more excited for this device, and I feel like Google needs to just announce it, and they need to just tell us about it, because I really, really want this software in a form factor that can fold, and in particular, a form factor that's not going to be so tall and narrow, one that's going to be easier to one hand, and also, I think, better set up for side-by-side multitasking. Give it to me. Give it to me now, Google. I really, really need it. Guys, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.